Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Review channel of YouTube. I am Thomas Metal 75. This is your Massachusetts Beer Review. Today, in this first going on to second week of December, have a beer that's a little out of style for this time of the year. It's not Halloween anymore. It's past Thanksgiving a few weeks ago. But I'm still going to review this pumpkin beer. Purchased December 2013 as I labeled it. This is Shipyard Brewing Company's Smashed Pumpkin Ale with natural flavor. This beer is on 9% alcohol by volume. It is a pint, 6 fluid ounces. It is from their Pugsley Signature Series in Shipyard. That's their bigger imperial style beer line. It is named after the, I believe he is the, either he was the brewmaster or is the brewmaster. Alan Pugsley. Now I had a Pugsley Series glass I bought from the brewery, but I fortunately broke that. So we'll just use a standard kind of a tulip shaped glass, and it has this gold foil on it. I'm going to take off. One came off actually pretty easy. The gold foil says roughly, I bought this for $7.99, so I didn't pay a whole bunch, and I don't usually pay a whole bunch for Shipyard beers, including their Pugsley Bombers. What else can I tell you about the beer from their website, shipyard.com? It was first released, or first brewed in 2009. You can only get it between August and October. They utilize a 2-row British Pale Ale malt, malted wheat, and light Munich malts. The yeast is a top fermenting English. It's a Willamette and Sapphire hop, and it has 9% with 26 IBUs. There's a lot more on the bottle that I'm not going to read, but the website says, the big-bodied beer with light orange, coppery orange color and a pleasing aroma of pumpkin and nutmeg. Pale ale, wheat, and light Munich malt combined with the natural tannin and pumpkin and the delicate spices of sapphire and Hallertau hops. Okay, they're listing a different kind of hop to balance the sweetness of the fruit. This is a little bit colder than it should be. To fully experience all the flavors, this beer is best enjoyed at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, we'll update you as it warms up. Okay. Pugsley Series is named after Shipyard Brewing Company's master brewer, Alan Pugsley. I didn't buy the 2015 Smashed Pumpkin this year for whatever reason. They now come in the 4-packs instead of just in the bomber. And a lot of their beers are now twist tops, which some craft beer guys, for whatever reason, believe isn't the freshest way to cap your beers. But I don't really care. I'm not picky. So here is the Shipyard Brewing Company's cap. Established 94. They are out of Portland, Maine, and they come by way of brewing beers in their tavern in Kennebunkport, Maine, before they got their brewery together in Portland, Maine, and started brewing on a large scale. They say pairs well with sharp cheeses, nuts, lamb, hearty stews, and desserts like flan or pumpkin pie. Alright. Let's give this a pour. See what we get. Won't pour the whole thing in the bottle, out of the bottle. Well, the first thing that I noticed is, yes, the dark coppery orange color, and it's fairly filtered. There could be little small traces of sediment, but I'd say it's fairly filtered and clear. And there's some bubbles streaming up. It's not overly carbonated, but it's definitely got some carbonation. Tiny cracks and pops in the carbonation. The head, I didn't pour it straight down, but the head's no more than a finger's worth, and at 9%, I detect a little bit of lacing going on, and it's that soapy dishwater sort of consistency to the head. Let's get a smell test on the Shipyard Smashed Pumpkin 2013, guys. You get a little bit of the phenol, kind of that alcoholic note at 9%. You definitely get that nutmeg and that cinnamon note right away. And that pumpkin pie, graham crackery crust kind of a note out of the scent. It definitely has an earthy, spicy kind of a component, almost like a British beer in that hop component. It's not really like florally or piney or overly citrusy. It might have the slightest touch of the pine, maybe. But the big star is that pumpkin pie smell and spices and some of that alcohol at 9%. And it's a big malty, sweet, brown bread, molasses, sugar kind of a note as well. Smells like a typical kind of a pumpkin beer. Cheers! Let's try the Smashed Pumpkin 2013. %, I suppose you can, there it goes. It sort of has a little bit of a slight bit of a slickness. I would say it's a straight up medium, on the light side of medium, but it's medium. Some of that 9%, as the beer dries out, you get the sensation of it being 9%. It's definitely well, it's not very, it's definitely on the stickier, sweeter side. The flavors I pull out of that beer are your typical pumpkin pie filling and graham cracker crust. Nope. Actually, you do get the alcohol in the first sip as well, but it's very light. Again, you immediately get the graham cracker and the bready brown bread crust notes from the malt. Cinnamon and nutmeg jump out immediately, followed by the graham cracker. I believe in that order is what I'm tasting on that beer. It just has a light, sort of that 26 IBUs, a light earthy kind of a bitterness, I guess. It's not really sharp and in your face for 26 IBUs. I wouldn't expect it to be in the bitterness or in the hops. It might have a light, like a leathery, or even a small amount of, like a tobacco kind of hoppy pine feel maybe, but it's really, really more on the British side. I think the way that the hops are put together in this beer. And again, it is giving you that alcohol feeling towards the back end of the sip and the finish. It definitely dries after a couple of seconds. Obviously it's a sweeter forward beer. It's not cloying in any way. I think it's done right for an imperial kind of a pumpkin ale. Again, it has a little bit of slickness and oiliness. It's light side of medium. It is. Not overly crisp. It is. I don't know, at 9% you could call this necessarily clean, but there's nothing that's dirty about it or off-putting in the finish. And at 9%, I would go with the standard Shipyard Pumpkinhead for the overall refreshment and drinkability. But this one is, again, since it's on the light side of medium, it's pretty forward in, well, I mean, at the light side of medium, let me put it this way, it's got a good drinkability for a higher alcohol percentage beer is what I'm trying to allude to. Let me take another gulp of the beer and give you my final comments and ratings and wrap this thing up for you guys. I definitely think this needs to be at the 55 degrees. It could be closer to 40 or 45. If I notice any changes, you'll hear back from me on that. This is the kind of, my comment would be, overall thoughts and opinions are, this is the kind of a beer I look for when I look for a pumpkin ale. I don't dislike the Shipyard, just standard Pumpkinhead beer, but I like to go outside of the box when it comes to pumpkin beers and, you know, really get an Imperial Pumpkin because they have a little bit more depth of flavor. They're a little bit more complex. They do a little bit more for you in that diversity of the flavor, and it has they tend to have a little bit more of that warming feeling. Watch out if you go to any of those Halloween parties with this beer. Trying to warm up the beer a little bit, but I will definitely give this beer, I have no problem in the B+ to that A- range. I really like this smashed pumpkin. I didn't get it this year, but I try to get it every year because it's so cheap and inexpensive in my area. Again, Southern Tier's Pumpkin is, I've never tried to age that, but the Southern Tier Pumpkin is probably the king of the pumpkin beers that most can get in the fall season. I haven't had the Southern Tier Warlock. And I've had the Avery Brewing's Rumkin, which is a pumpkin ale aged in rum casks, or rum barrels. That comes in a little 12-ounce bottle. I believe it's 12 ounces, and it's a little bit expensive. But Smash Pumpkin, I think, is available around the country, and definitely the Pumpkin is, but if you like a little bit of a boozier, oily, slicker flavor to your beers, you like those Imperial Stouts, or barley wines, or triples, or whatever is a bigger beer style, and you don't necessarily think that pumpkin beer might be your thing, you might like this one. Even if you're, I think even if you're a Scotch or a bourbon drinker, you might enjoy this one. I'm going to give it a, B+ to an A-. I have no problem giving it maybe an 88 or 87. If I notice any other changes, stay tuned to this video. Otherwise, this has been Massachusetts Beer Reviews. Keep tasting those great beers. See you all soon. Hello, Massachusetts Beer Review is back with you all again for Part 2 of the 2013 Smashed Pumpkin from Shipyard Brewing Company, Portland, Maine. Don't really know the time frame of how long it's been since I did the review initially. it has warmed up significantly. Some of those flavors, not all, but it has changed enough to warrant telling you about it as promised. The scent of the beer is not so quite straightforward with the flavors of the nutmeg and the cinnamon. You get a lot of the graham cracker crust and more of those alcohol 9% notes. And actually there's a slight appley note, very slight, the taste at a warmer temperature. Seems to me to be a little bit thinner in the mouth. Overall, 9% is not heavy still, but it's a tiny bit more pronounced, the alcohol. The majority of the note is a graham cracker and a bigger, sort of a pale caramel maltiness. I find this to be a little bit more drinkable now. It's just a touch more refreshing, but I wouldn't necessarily call Imperial Pumpkin beer refreshing. And it's just a little thinner in the mouth and a little bit easier on the drinkability, for sure. And it just has overall bigger, maltier presence to the brew, with the 9% still perceived, but not too heavy in the mouth. Nice warming sensation. And actually, before I go, as you can see from the bottom of the glass, if I look in the light I can see it, it's got some sediment in it, and it's actually a little bit cloudy now. So that's where we stand on 2013's Smashed Pumpkin Ale. I would like to thank Tonya Renee. I will put her YouTube channel for beer reviewing out in the Oakland, California area, who has requested I review this aged Smashed Pumpkin from Shipyard. Thank you for the idea, Tonya. Still love the beer at B+ to an A-. Signing off for now. Keep tasting them great beers. Cheers!